Hi and welcome to CBN4's Primetime News Package for this evening. I'm your presenter, Arlen Christopher. First up tonight, Executive Director of Lifeline Ministry, Tina Alexander, has stated that there remains a number of different instances that the ministry is concerned about. She stated that before Hurricane Maria, Lifeline Ministries have also been worried about women and children in particular who are survivors of gender-based violence. Alexander noted that post-Maria, Lifeline Ministries has grown increasingly worried.
Post-Maria, we're even more worried because people are displaced. They're living in strange places with strange people, and sometimes they're even completely out of the country and in a place where they don't even know how to make a report if something goes wrong. We've had some discussions with children and teenagers who are saying that quite often people are making advances on them in a way that makes them feel uncomfortable, and they're not sure how to say no, how to go for help. Quite often people feel obligated, especially if somebody's giving you shelter or feeding you or being your official guardian. People feel worried about reporting those people who are meant to be protecting them. So we are worried about the experience of both children and youth post-Maria.
The Executive Director further mentioned that with the passing of Hurricane Maria, communication problems has led to a reduction in reports, but not a reduction in incidents.
We can do. One is to encourage reporting and to encourage children to come to us, and we will help them go to the police or go to welfare, whichever is the appropriate thing at the time. And then we can also raise awareness in society and remind people that we now have a law that says it's mandatory to report if you know. That means if you don't report a child being abused, then you are now punishable. So that means you need to go and tell somebody if you know that something's happening. Go to the welfare division and tell them what you know, or help the person make a report to the police. Either way, you need to tell somebody what you know, and don't let the perpetrators get away with destroying our children's innocence and making them experience low self-esteem, and possibly also making them feel that sex is unimportant and that it's okay to be promiscuous. That's not okay, and what we need is for our children to make strong, faithful relationships so that we have families in the future where children grow up secure.
Alexander went on to mention that rape, having sex with children who are under the age of consent, being violent, demanding sex with violent threats are some obvious examples of gender-based violence. In the Maho Primary School, which remained closed after the passing of Hurricane Maria on September 18th, reopened on November 20th, 2017 at the Village Council building and with the use of tents. The school's building, which still serves as a shelter, has lost most of its coverings and is now in need of repairs. The principal says that she is hoping, come January, the school may be able to utilize 2 classrooms to accommodate the staff and students better cope amidst the challenges.
Rains, the field is flooded and the tents on the field are filled with water. We also have people who use the village field. They would come in and just come in the children's tent and misbehave and play around in the tents. And in the building, I don't know, it's echoing. And because of the close proximity of the children, one teacher has to try to overshadow the other one's voice, so the noise level is a bit high in the building.
Roberts declared that the staff of the Maho Primary School is very committed to their students. She admits that while conditions are not favorable, the teachers have remained as a team. She believes that it is essential for all the students to be at school despite conditions, since they all have curriculum to complete.
Location where the 5th and 4th graders or the 5th and 6th graders would have to attend, grade K to 6 should face the same conditions, because they are all being prepared for the national curriculum. The grade 2, grade 4, they do have to sit their national assessments, and the grade 6. So they are not special from the other schools. They are supposed to come in like the other children. So that is why we made preparation for the whole school to be here.
Robert says that the Ministry of Education has ensured that the school has a constant supply of water. However, Roberts indicated that the school is in dire need of chalkboards and books. And also making our headlines, Father Alistair Elias remembers senior Redemptorist Father Clement Jolly as a very active individual in the service before he fell ill. Father Jolly died at the age of 86 at the Premium Home and Residential Care in Mount Daniel. Elias said he remembers Father Jolly as being a very health-conscious person.
Have a sense of humor. Father Jolly would tell all kinds of jokes to make you laugh. But one of the things that really strikes me about Father Jolly is his consciousness about health. Father Jolly was very, very conscious about being healthy. For instance, Father Jolly would be having his lunch or his supper, and he got a phone call. After he answered the phone, he made sure he cleaned up himself before he started eating again. That's how much he was about health. He always talked about there is germs everywhere, there is viruses everywhere, and you have to be careful. So that was his way of showing how, we must be conscious about the environment and everything that's happening around us.
Elias admits that Father Jolly had been ill for some time. He says Father Jolly was diagnosed with cancer and given 3 months to live after his visit to the US, where he sought medical care. According to Father Elias, Jolly outlived his 3-month span and was placed in the care of the Premium Home at Mount Daniel, where he felt he could receive better care and attention.
He was having some complications, so we had the doctor comes and everything, but he wasn't getting better. So we sent him up to the US, and that's where he was diagnosed with cancer. But it was so advanced, and with his age and with his other complication, there was nothing the doctor could do. So they just sent him back with some medication because he used to have a lot of pain, and so they sent him back to us. He wanted to die, of course. He wanted to come home to his people. He wanted to come back to Dominica, so they sent him back to us. And because of our busy schedule, we wasn't able to care for him 24/7. So we had to, that's how we ended up at PASS, who did a great job at caring for him. Whenever we go there, he had a full-time nurse. He had people that cared for him 24/7.
Elias laments that while Jolly's passing is a painful loss, it gives him consolation knowing that Father Jolly doesn't have to go through the pain anymore. Meantime, Father Franklin Coffey indicated that the passing of Father Clement Jolly will be a huge blow for the Catholic community.
I think it's a big, you can understand that I'll be a bit emotional about this, because Father Jolly belonged to that same congregation, the Redemptorist. In fact, he is right now the last Dominican Redemptorist priest working in Dominica. People might ask, but I'm a Redemptorist as well, but my assignment right now is really in Trinidad. So I'm here because of the hurricane, and I'm glad I was here to experience what the people are experiencing. So it's a big loss. So Father was a theologian. Father was a social commentator on social issues, and the last conversation we had before he left the community and to move to the home in Mount Daniel, he informed me that he had a manuscript for a book, his last book, and because he was sick, he was told that it will not be published. He was told to forget about it. So I told him, my first response was, I will take responsibility for publishing the book.
Father Jolly's book is being entitled Being Christian. Father Coffey announced that the funeral mass is expected to take place on the first Saturday in January of 2018. And stay tuned for more local news highlights right after this break. And welcome back to CBN4's Primetime News Package. Discover Dominica Authority through the Dominica State College hosted a workshop on post-Hurricane Maria tour commentary for tour guides on Wednesday, December 20th. The objective of the workshop was to assist tour guides in positively incorporating the post-Maria landscape into their narration, thereby ensuring that the visitor's experience is maintained at the highest standard. The workshop was facilitated by Dr. Lennox Honeychurch, who presented on the history of hurricanes on Dominica and their impacts on its architecture, and Mr. Cyril John, Forestry Officer, who presented on recreation of parks. The workshop was facilitated by Dr. Lennox Honeychurch, who presented on the history of hurricanes on Dominica and their impacts on its architecture, and Cyril John, Forestry Officer, who presented on recreation and parks, roles in the replanting of trees and ornamental plants at specific sites. According to the CEO of Discover Dominica Authority, Colin Piper, the workshop is very important and of course relevant, as DDA needed to ensure that the guides are all equipped with the relevant information needed to modify their tour commentary post-Maria. 33 independent tour guides as well as those attached to certified tour operators participated in the workshop. And Minister for Public Works and Ports, Senator Miriam Blanchard, have announced that works on the rehabilitation of the highway and construction of the river defense near the Hillsborough Bridge in Layu is well on the way. Blanchard, speaking at a contract ceremony, noted that works will intensify in 2018.
You will also recall that a few months ago in June 2017, the government of Dominica and Offshore Civil and Marine Inc. signed a contract totaling $5.8 million for the rehabilitation of the highway and construction of river defense northwest of the Hillsborough Bridge. Work on that project was first delayed due to the unavailability of material in the region and further by the passage of Hurricane Maria. However, I am pleased to confirm that works on that project started earlier this week and will intensify in January 2018.
Blanchard also noted that lessons from past weather events have shown that Dominicans must focus on building a more climate-resilient nation.
Recent weather events have highlighted the vulnerabilities of several areas across our beautiful island. And all of us here today are aware that the community of Layu is certainly one of them, largely due to its close proximity to the Layu River and to the sea. It is with this in mind that a few years ago, this proactive government identified and began design work on a number of infrastructure projects aimed at safeguarding life and property in the community of Layu. In short, our vision was to commence the building of a more climate resilient community.
With the government of Dominica focused on building a climate resilient nation, Blanchard noted that there are a number of projects in the pipeline.
Some of the projects in the pipeline to achieve this include the reconstruction of the York Valley Bridge, which was damaged in 2011. The government of the People's Republic of China once again showed their genuine friendship for the people of the Commonwealth of Dominica with the commitment to replace that bridge at no cost to us. As we are all aware, this project is nearing completion. In fact, the bridge was scheduled to be officially opened this month, but was delayed by the passing of Hurricane Maria. I am happy to share with you today that discussions are ongoing between the government of Dominica and the People's Republic of China so that work can resume shortly.
And also in the news, the government of Dominica through the Caribbean Development Bank on Wednesday signed a contract worth over $2 million for construction of an emergency resource center in the community of Layu. Speaking at the contract signing ceremony, the parliamentary representative for the St. Joseph constituency, Honorable Kelvin Daru, stated that this project has been part of the government's plan for a number of years.
Today's contract ceremony signifies the penultimate step towards the construction of a community emergency shelter for the residents of Layu. This project, to the tune of $2.34 million, is indicative of the government of Dominica's vision to construct climate resilient infrastructure post Hurricane Maria. Very importantly, for those of you who may not know, this project has been on the cards for a number of years. And finally, we are seeing the realization of this project. This project came about after the collapse of the Mati Dam in Layu in 2011. And at that stage, the government of Dominica secured a loan from the Caribbean Development Bank to ensure that we could have provided not just a shelter, but also a community center for the community of Layu, which was adversely impacted after the collapse of that dam.
Minister Daru stated that the government quickly responded to the plea from residents of Layu after the collapse of the Mathieu Dam in 2011 by providing various skills training in the community. He went on to say that there is no disaster or resource center in the community of Layu and believes that this project will have significant benefits towards residents of that community.
Stages, providing employment during the construction, and the contractor is there, and I'm sure that he will engage a number of the skilled people in the community of Layu on that project, and I'm saying that publicly so that the contractor will employ as many persons from the community, as well as, when completed, provide an opportunity for hosting training and skill development sessions so as to advance the development of skills in that community. The facility will also be used for recreational purposes, and more importantly, or I should say most importantly, it will be used as a disaster shelter for the residents whenever disasters like hurricanes are on the way.
According to the Member of Parliament, the government has already secured the land for the construction of the facility.
Located in the old Layu housing scheme right next to where Glenda has a bar. For those of you who know Glenda Bar on the highway, it is right, that portion of land right there on the highway. So it is indeed a safe location away from the Layu River, and it will allow the residents to be secured in the event that we have a hurricane or any other disaster, where they can feel at peace during that time.
The contract for the Disaster and Resource Center was awarded to Royce Real Estate Construction Limited. And two Dominican footballers, Giles Mitchell and Andres Joseph, are among a list of 22 footballers who have been invited to participate in the 2018 MLS Caribbean Combine scheduled to take place in South Florida. Major League Soccer made the announcement earlier this week, with the event expected to take place from January 9th to the 11th. Players will compete in front of scouts for 3 days for the potential to be signed directly by an MLS club during an upcoming transfer window. The Caribbean Combine will lead into the 2018 Adidas MLS Players Combine, which will be held from January 11th to the 17th in Orlando. Both combines will be followed by the 2018 MLS Super Draft presented by Adidas on January 19th in Philadelphia. And that takes us to the end of the Primetime News package. If you've missed any of the stories, you can catch up on CBN4.com or visit our Facebook page. Until our next broadcast, I am Alan Christopher saying thank you for watching.